The DUP has produced a new publication to justify their current disastrous policies. With supreme irony, they call it building on success. Would that be the success they had at the last visit to the polls in June, when they lost over 40% of their vote? Or maybe it's the success of twinning themselves in government with unrepentant terrorists, so that even though they hold the First Minister's office, the First Minister can't even sign a letter without the permission of the joint First Minister, Martin McGuinness, the ultimate godfather of IRA terrorism. Or maybe it's the success of the abject, miserable failure of that government. Failure in every department. Failure most poignantly in education. Subject that matters to everyone in this province. And yet, week on week, we see the utter despair amongst parents and pupils because of the inability to deliver a proper transfer procedure from primary to post-primary education, and the ludicrous spectacle of parents and grammar schools driven to unregulated testing outside the school system in order to provide some sticky plaster to the utter failure of that government. There's not a department where this executive has delivered good government. Rather, it is the most miserable, failing government anywhere in Western Europe. So is that the success that the DUP is going to build upon? Well, if it is, I have to tell them there's no risk of them reconnecting with their electorate. Then today at their conference, we soon saw who is the enemy. Of course, it's not their partner in government, IRA Sinn Féin, but rather it is traditional unionist voice. Those who would dare to stand still on the ground that the DUP used to occupy. Those that would dare to say that terrorists should not be in government. Those who would dare to say that in this province we should have the same democratic right as everyone else in the democratic world to vote a party out of office. Those who would dare to say that we should have the same democratic right of everyone else to have an opposition, rather than this insult of mandatory coalition. I'm glad, as the leader of TUV, that it is a testament to our effectiveness and the degree to which we have discomforted those who are partnering and sustaining Sinn Féin in government, that we are the object of their venom to the degree that we saw today. But of course, telling us that there is no way forward but their miserable, failed way, itself betokens the defeatism that comes when you cower beneath the Sinn Féin veto. And cower the DUP will, because it is their only ticket to office. And they will yet, of course, deliver to Sinn Féin their primary outstanding goal of the moment, that of securing control over policing and justice, and ending British control of those most potent of symbols, policing and justice in Northern Ireland, and delivering it to an executive where IRA Sinn Féin, the murderers of policemen and judges, will hold the sway of veto. No unionist should ever be contemplating giving such powers to an executive where IRA Sinn Féin holds such powers of veto. And yet that is the appalling course upon which the DUP has set itself. But I'm glad that there are tens of thousands of unionists in this province who do not buy their spin, who will not roll over to either IRA Sinn Féin or to DUP propaganda, and that are just waiting for the next opportunity at the polls to deliver the message that they delivered so effectively in June, again in constituency after constituency in this province. And we will happily call to those to account who when they last went to the Westminster election went on a manifesto of deceit because they emblazoned the banner within it that mandatory coalition was out of the question, and yet that is the very device upon which they have brought Irish Sinn Féin into government. So we'll hold them to account on that. We'll hold them to account on policing injustice. We'll hold them to account on their abuse, double and triple jobbing, and the scandal of expenses. So I say, roll on the next election, and let's again have the opportunity of calling to account those who have abandoned their principles and everything that they ever once stood for in this province.